No votes are being cast in the Republican primary race this week, but there's plenty of action in the weeks to come.
Mitt Romney has solidified his status as the GOP frontrunner by continuing a successful and familiar trend. Every time he's taken a loss, usually in a state where he's failed to connect with the GOP's right-wing base, he has mounted a successful comeback. Each time, he buries his opponents with ads and then posts a strong victory in a bellwether state, the latest of which was Illinois last week. Far ahead in the delegate count, Romney has stayed above the Republican fray this week, taking his message to The Tonight Show with Jay Leno and focusing all of his attacks on President Obama, rather than members of his own party. The same cannot be said of his two rivals, however. Though Newt Gingrich's campaign appears to be on life support, to save money, he has had to slash both his staff and his travel budget. He refuses to drop out, instead calling Romney the weakest frontrunner in recent times. Rick Santorum, meanwhile, has shown signs of losing focus, cursing at a reporter and being forced to backtrack from several recent controversial off-the-cuff statements. However, a recent win in Louisiana has convinced him to stay in for the long haul.
The upcoming primary calendar does not seem kind to either Santorum or Gingrich, however. Next week, voters will go to the polls in 3 places: Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Wisconsin. All 3 are moderate and often vote Democrat in the general election, so they should be friendly terrain for Romney, though Santorum has spent a lot of time in Wisconsin this week hoping to pull an upset. Things look even bleaker for Romney's conservative rivals later in the month. 5 states, all in the Northeast, hold their primaries and should provide victories to the former governor of Massachusetts. Ballots will be cast in Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, and right here in New York. Pennsylvania looms largest that day. If Santorum cannot win the state in which he represented for more than a decade in the Senate, it could spell the end of his campaign.
But if he does survive, the race shifts to a series of more conservative states. A strong showing by Santorum there may prevent Romney from collecting the number of delegates needed to wrap up the GOP nomination before their convention in Tampa.
For the latest on the road to the White House, please join our political team at nydailynews.com.